Mark Cuban comes out today, yesterday, day before. He starts explaining diversity, equity, and conclusion, DEI for short. Most people know what DEI is now. But, but Mark Cuban's just going to come out here and pretend like nobody knows what it is. Obviously, diversity, equity, inclusion. You're on one side, you say, hey, this is good. You're on another side, you say, hey, this is bad. That's the difference in opinion. What's not a difference in opinion is actually what it is. Because one side says historical injustices, societal wrongs, racism, discrimination, everything happened. We need to make that even, sort of like affirmative action. We need to make all that even. We need to make up for it. Other side says, hey, two wrongs don't make a right. Don't fight racism with racism. Hire and, promote and do all these things based on merit, not trying to, adjust for historical wrongs. Mark Cuban comes in, enters the chat even, and he's like, that's not what it is, you guys. It's actually exactly what the, maybe a definition from 10 years ago would have been. We're just doing this. We're just doing the nice things. We're just trying to make things even. But we're not doing anything. We're not hiring other people. We're not advancing other people at the behest of other people who are qualified. We're just doing it, we're finding the best people, but they just happen to be of a diverse background or whatever you want to call it. But Mark Cuban is playing a big pretend game, and you're going to see here why I think he's saying that. Here's my thoughts on DEI, he says. And he's responding to, three Elon Musk saying discrimination on the basis of race, which DEI does, is literally the definition of racism. Okay, that's the one side, as I mentioned. You would think, aside combating that, the other side of the argument is, things have been done that are wrong, we need to correct them. But that's not what Mark Cuban, the big Cubano, comes in here and says. He says, let me help you with this. Good businesses look where others don't to find employees that will put your business in the best possible position to succeed. You may not agree, but I take it as a given there are people at their various races, ethnicities, orientation, etc. that get excluded from hiring consideration. By extending our hiring search to include them, we can find people that are more qualified. The loss of DEI-phobic companies is my gain. That's not what they say. That's not what anybody's saying, Marcus. He's saying, nobody's looking. People are just not looking at black people, Japanese people, South Korean people, Zimbabwean people. People are just not looking at them, and they're excluding people because of their race, even though they're amazing and qualified. I don't think that's the argument, and I don't think that's happening. The argument is we have to hire this amount of people who are non-white, for example, because representation matters, because other people of other races deserve these opportunities. The argument for diversity, equity, and inclusion programs was never, hey, let's just take a look at them. Let's just take a look at other races. Now, they have done that. I'm not saying they haven't done that. And then specifically, I believe in the NBA, they've done that. They've done that in a lot of sports leagues where they say, hey, if you're hiring coaches and you've got 8 candidates, one of them's got to be a black guy. I still disagree with that. Whether it's this 8 best guys are black, white, orange, yellow, like on The Simpsons. You go for the 8 best guys. Don't just throw somebody a bone. That's disingenuous and that's insulting, actually. But Mark Cuban thinks that's all that's happening. He thinks that, or he's lying, but he's saying, hey, anybody's asking for you to do is look at them. And then he goes on. For equity, treating people equally does not mean treating them the same. I made the mistake for a lot of years thinking it did. Equity is a core principle. Put your employees in a position to succeed. Recognize differences and play to their strength wherever possible. It's not a hard concept, but it's easy to implement. Most workforces don't have the depth of management to do this well. When it's not done well, it can create tension and resentment. Again, not at all what anybody's saying, Mark. What people say when they say equity, that little picture where they have 3 people standing in front of a fence and it says equality, and the tall guy, they all have the same box that they're standing on. Tall guy can see, medium person can see, small guy can't see. Then they go to equity and they adjust the box height for the person's height so that everybody can see. That's not giving everybody the best chance to succeed. That's giving people things that other people aren't getting. That's what it is. That's what they want. That's what these diversity programs do. They say, give this person a job because of their skin color, because we don't have enough people of different skin colors at this company. Give people higher SAT scores because of their skin color, because they're predominantly poor, even though that's insulting too, or because they come from a place with more violence. That's what the equity is. And this is not a secret. This is completely open. This is what everybody says. This is what the argument's over. Do we need to make it a level playing field for everybody? Or the other side is, do we need to correct for things that were done wrong in the past and therefore give people certain advantages for who knows how long? That's the argument, not just put employees in a place where they can succeed. Why would you put your employees in a position where they can't succeed? That's a crappy company. And Mark Cuban, he still goes on. Number 3, inclusion. One of my favorite sayings is that great employees reduce the stress for those around them. I've never heard him say that. I watch a lot of Shark Tank. Great companies create environments that reduce unnecessary stress of their employees. I'm not talking hitting quota or getting product at the door stress, which in turn increases productivity. That is what inclusion is all about. Making all employees, no matter who they are or how they see themselves, feel comfortable in their environment, able to do their jobs. No, it is not what it is. No, it is not what it is. No. That's not what they say. That's what nobody says. Nobody says, well, I think our company needs to be more inclusive. And what I mean by that is everybody at the company needs to be comfortable. No, what that means is put trans flags up, hire people who are transgender, different races, different sexualities, and different genders, if that's a thing other than the two. Hire people based on that. That's what inclusion is in the modern day. You know, if you want to go back to 1999 and say we're very inclusive, which means, anybody from any race or gay, straight, lesbian can come join here, and whoever is the best can make their way to the top. That's what the puritanical message is, right? But nowhere in the last 7-8 years in the post-Trump era has anyone said inclusion just means making everybody feel comfortable. No, inclusion has meant hiring people based on, I believe the word's immutable characteristics. Hire them because they're Japanese, like I said, or hire them because of their skin color. Hire them because we want more people who are native Indians. Hire more people because we want to say that we have more gay people in our company. That's what this is all being. And Mark Cuban is either so out of touch, and he might be, there's a percentage there, so out of touch that he has no idea what actually happens as a business mogul just telling people to make moves for him, or he's lying, or he's covering for this and he wants to pretend. He comes out and says stuff a lot. He has said stuff about, immigration a little bit. He says stuff about, not being too woke. But I think at the end of the day, when his back is against the wall, he has nowhere else to turn. He has nowhere else to please both sides. He does side with Democrats. He's one of those guys who made a very late declaration of his support for Biden, kind of like The Rock. They do it in the witching hours where you're just like, okay, I kind of assumed that, but there's not much attention on it right now because we're only a couple of weeks away from the election. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him give his endorsement for Biden. Now, at the end of the road here, I'm guessing that's what he's doing again. My bet is that Mark Cuban is willing to say all these other things, but he will not turn his back on the DEI gods. Why? Because he's up there with the elites, the Vanguards, the Black Rocks, the Clintonians even, who want to work with these giant venture capital firms, these giant companies who control billions upon hundreds of billions of dollars in the market. And they're the ones asking people to do this and implement DEI stuff. And that's who I think he's not willing to turn his back on. That's who I think he's not willing to, speak up against. And he had one more thing here, which is in response to J.D. Vance, who's senator for Ohio. Good guy. Vance says, do the Dallas Mavericks reflect the demographics of America as a whole? To which Cuban replies, if you were trying to make a stupid comment, you nailed it. First, as an organization as a whole, yes, we do. More importantly, if you understand the value of DEI, it's not in checklists and quotas. It's understanding how to best compete as a company. We are the people who put us in the best position to succeed. DEI defeated in a tweet, you guys. We hired people who put us in the best position to succeed. Yeah, that's what we're all saying. So is he literally just trying to play both sides here? Or is he that, uninformed? I almost said dumb. I know he's not dumb. But is he that uninformed and that out of touch that he thinks that DEI is hiring just the best people? Is just looking at everybody. No, that's called being normal. Being normal is saying, hey, I don't care what your race is. Can you do the job? And he says, as an organization as a whole, we do. But not on the court, because that would be silly. And then, of course, he goes on to say we hire people who are best to succeed. Is that not it? You guys tell me. You guys got to tell me, is Mark Cuban lying, or is he, is he playing a game here? What is he doing?
Turn it up, Jordan.